Please take a look at the picture, which depicts the 4 dimensions, which are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, but the numbers are not required. There is no specific sequence of these 4 dimensions. And around the 4 dimensions, you see things such as political factors, economic factors, and so on. That is known as the pestle factors. On the left, we have the key message. The 4 dimensions support a holistic approach to service management that collectively are critical to the effective and efficient facilitation of value for customers and other stakeholders in the form of products and services. Later on, we will see that in ITIL, we have the guiding principles as part of the value system. One of the principles there is to think and work holistically. What this means is we should avoid tunnel vision, or the organization should avoid tunnel vision. Therefore, the 4 dimensions are collectively important for facilitating value for customers and other stakeholders in the form of products and services. So the next point here is they represent perspectives relevant to all levels, including individual product design, management practices, and the organization's value system as a whole. Imagine there is a dining table with 4 legs. If one of those legs goes weak, then the table can shake. So 4 dimensions are collectively critical. Or it's like 4 pillars supporting a building. And if one of the pillars is weak, then the building becomes unstable. So products and services are a combination of 4 dimensions which need to be well balanced. We also have the concept of management practices apart from the guiding principles in the ITIL value system. We will cover this in another section or recording afterwards. The management practices are capabilities such as incident management, release management, risk management, and so on. Now, every management practice is a combination of resources from the 4 dimensions. So, for example, if we consider one of the common practices, which is incident management, it will have inclusion of the 4 dimensions, or will consider these 4 dimensions, meaning it'll have to consider the organization and people, meaning competencies, roles, team structure, and so on. It'll have to consider the information and technology dimension, such as tool sets and how incident information will be managed in the tool, and so on. And then also there may be partners and suppliers providing assistance for the incident management practice. And of course, there will be a process for incident management, and also incident management practice will contribute to certain scenarios, business scenarios of the organization, and those scenarios are known as the value streams. So the approach to product or service management is actually based on the 4 dimensions. And also, as I was mentioning earlier, there are also external factors. Now, these external factors can make the 4 dimensions go off balance. Now, the table that I mentioned earlier, the 4 legs of the table are the 4 dimensions. But imagine, let's say the table is meant to eat some food. So it's not that some heavy weight is placed on the table or some heavy person sits on it, and then the table can shake or even break. So therefore, depending on, of course, how strong the table is. So therefore, these are known as external factors, which are beyond the control of the organization, and these are known as pestle factors. As you can see here, the pestle factors are political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental. Therefore, an example could be that, let's say a service organization is embarking on process improvement, so that is from the process and value streams dimension. They should not ignore the other 3 dimensions, the people, the technology, and the partners. Similarly, if they are having a discussion on technology solutions, they should also simultaneously consider the other dimensions of people, process, and partners. Otherwise, it will not be a holistic consideration. You might recollect there is the ITIL car rental or ICR scenario, which is taken from the book, the official ITIL Foundation version 5 book. Let us take a look at what Max, the CIO, has here. He's aware that they are responsible for information and technology at ITIL car rental, but effective IT management is more than just managing technology. And they must consider the wider organization and people involved in ITIL car rental service, and also the relationships with partners and suppliers, and the value streams, processes, and technologies that they use. We will be obtaining more clarity about these four dimensions. However, it's very likely that you would understand some of these already. Then we have the so-called pestle factors. As I mentioned earlier, the four dimensions are influenced by these external factors or constrained by them. And these are beyond the control of the organization in most cases, such as political factors of the country or economic factors in the region, the country, or internationally, globally, and so on. So these are in line with one of the widely accepted models known as PESTEL, meaning that these factors are in line with what is known as a very popular acronym, which is the PESTEL factors: political, economic, social, technology, legal, environmental. You may use other models as well. There are others known as TECOP, which is like TECOP, technical, environmental, commercial, operational, and political. And there are a few others also. These are known as risk prompt lists. Such acronyms help us to be prompted to think about risks. And in this case, what impacts the four dimensions or potentially the risks to the functioning of the four dimensions. Therefore, the four dimensions should be considered holistically along with the external factors, and there is no specific order or hierarchy of the four dimensions. So, for example, political is mostly government related, what sort of policies they introduce. It can also include conflicts and wars. Economic is straightforward. It is about inflation. It can also include foreign exchange rates and currency value and so on. Social is more about the demographics, what sort of products and services local people might be using, or what could be popular across multiple regions or countries or even globally. It can also mean their attitudes and consideration of social ethics and all that attitudes, what sort of uh, attitudes they have for purchasing and other areas. Then we have technology that's straightforward, what sort of technology is available or changing in the external world. Legal, this is more regulatory. And E is environmental. This is the second E, not the economic, but this is environmental. This is not just climate, but it can also include natural calamities and those sort of things. This is where, for example, sustainability considerations will play their role.